Hey guys, welcome to Brighter Bee. So today we will discuss the salient features of the Constitution. Before going to the salient features of the Constitution, first of all we will discuss what is Constitution. So here we have that it is the supreme document of the land or the supreme aggregate of the fundamental principles through which the certain land or country is governed. So, what does this mean? It means that it is the sacred and the most supreme document of that land or particular country on which the everyone is respecting and everyone is bowing towards that particular document, and this is the supreme law of the country. So it is the quality and it is the value of the constitution and the political circumstances. So now we will discuss the salient features of the constitution. As we all know that Indian constitution is the most bulkiest constitution of the world. The reason is that it has been drawn from various sources. Many constitutions of the world acted as the inspiration for our framers of the constitution, and they have taken out the valuable and the needy things according to the need of the India, which are applicable to the country. So from these we have the different features. The first of all is the lengthiest written constitution. So lengthiest constitution is why? Because it is the most comprehensive and elaborated and detailed document. As in 1949, when the constitution was made, and the constitution was consisting of the preamble, 395 articles, and which were divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. So now we will have more than 465 articles and 12 schedules which were divided into 25 parts. We will discuss each and every feature in detailed manner in the next part, but this is an introductory part in which we will discuss only the features in a brief manner. Now the second point is that it has been drawn from various sources. Yes, our Constitution of India has borrowed most of its provision from the constitution of various countries, such as we have taken fundamental rights from the American Constitution, fundamental duties from the USSR Constitution, which is now Russia. We have taken also different parts from the Irish Constitution, from France, from South Africa, Japan, and so on. Okay, so the next point is the blend of rigidity and flexibility. So before going to the brief, we have to understand that what is the meaning of rigidity and flexibility. See, rigidity in the common sense, it is the word which makes something that is tough, and the flexibility means something which can be molded in any manner. So our constitution is the mixture of both rigidity and flexibility, as some parts of the Indian constitution can be amended in a very simple manner, and some parts require the consensus of states, and some parts require the special majority of the parliament. So these are the things which are very much different and makes it a unique feature of our Indian constitution. The next feature is the federal system with unitary bias. What is the meaning of federal system with unitary bias? Means it is having the federal system, but it is tilted towards unitary. It means that our Indian constitution is relying over the federal system, but some parts of the constitution makes it tilted toward the unitary one, such as most powerful center and the single citizenship and single constitution, etc. So we will see in detail in the next part. Don't worry about that. Now the second and the next point is the parliamentary form of government. See, our constitution has opted for the British parliamentary system of government rather than the American presidential system of government. In the in the parliamentary system of government, we see that there is the particular principle of the cooperation and coordination between the legislative and the executive organs. While in the presidential form of government, there is the complete separation between the legislative and executive organ. Our country is relied on the parliamentary system, which is also known as the Westminster model of the government. We can call it a Westminster model of government because in the London, Westminster is the place where the Parliament of the London or the British Parliament is situated. Okay. Now the next point is the synthesis of the parliamentary sovereignty and judicial supremacy. What is the meaning of this? It means that our framers of the constitution have preferred the synthesis of the parliamentary sovereignty and judicial supremacy in such a manner that if parliament can amend any part of the constitution, then the judiciary of our country can make any law unconstitutional through its power of judicial review. The next point is the integrated and independent judiciary. Now the meaning of integrated and independent judiciary means integrated means which can't be separated, which is not separated, and independent means which is not dependent on any other organ of the government. So our judicial system is such like that we have at the topmost we have the Supreme Court, which is the federal court and the highest court of appeal, the guarantor of the constitution and the rights of the citizens, and it is also provided with the different provisions which ensures its independence, such as security of the tenure for the judges, fixed service conditions, and many other things. And in the state level we have the high courts. Under a high court there is a hierarchy of the different subordinate courts and different district courts or the lower courts. So this is the structure of the judiciary of India. The next point is the fundamental rights. What is the meaning of fundamental? Means which are very much necessary and nothing can be initiated without these particular rights. This is the fundamental right. And we can also say that the rights which are very much very necessary for the upliftment of the particular citizen of that country, so that it can develop its personality into a great manner. So the fundamental rights are provided in the part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, and we have different rights such as right to equality, a right to freedom, a right against exploitation, a right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. We will discuss the fundamental rights in detail in the upcoming lecture. So the next point is the directive principles of the state policy. Before going to directive principles of state policy, it is to be reminded that the fundamental rights are taken from the American Constitution, or we are inspired We were inspired from the from the American Constitution, through which the framers of the Indian Constitution have made the part third, which enshrined the fundamental rights for the citizens of the country. So now we will discuss the directive principles of the state policy. So directive principles are the directives which provides the promotion of or the ideal of the social and economical democracy. According to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the directive principles of the state policy is the novel feature of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so they the main objective of the directive principles is that to establish a welfare state in India. As we all know that fundamental rights are justiciable in nature, but directive principles are non-justiciable in nature, that is they are not enforceable by the courts of law for their violation. Now the next point is fundamental duties. Fundamental duties were not in the original constitution at the year in 1949, but they were added during the operation of internal emergency. That was the condition was arised in the year 1975 till 1977. So after that, the 42nd constitutional amendment had taken place, and in 1976, and on the recommendation of the Swaran Singh committee, the 86th constitutional amendment has also amended the act and added one more fundamental duty. So currently we have 11 fundamental duties. And why the fundamental duties are enshrined or were inserted or added? The answer is that the fundamental duties served as a reminder to the citizens that while enjoying their rights, they are also to be quite conscious regarding their duties that they owe to their country. So this is just like a reminder to the citizens to pay the duty regarding to their country. So the next point regarding the silent features, is the secular state. Secular state means that our Indian country, we don't have any particular religion as official religion of the Indian state. So we are having the tolerance regarding every religion, and the term secular was added to the preamble in the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act in the 1976, and the preamble has also secures all citizens of India the liberty of faith, belief and worship. We will discuss it later and regarding the secular part, that what is secularism and what are the articles of the Constitution which establishes the secularism of the country. And the next point is the universal adult franchise. So this universal adult franchise was the main feature of the democracy, because this is the choice of the people of the country through which that particular country can be governed. So our constitution has also provided the universal adult franchise, that is the right to vote. So without any discrimination, without any prohibition, everyone whosoever is above the 21 years of age can had the right to vote. But in the 1989, by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act, the voting age was reduced from year 21 to 18. So this is the main feature of the democracy, which makes the democracy broad based, enhances the self respect and prestige of the common people. And it also upholds the principles of the equality, enables the minorities to protect their interests. Okay, so the next point is the single citizenship. So our country has opted single citizenship rather than in America. We have seen that it has dual form of citizenship, means that each person is not only the citizen of the USA, but also it also the citizen of the particular state to which he belongs. But in India, irrespective of all the states in which that person is born or reside, but it enjoy all the at the same time it enjoys the same political and the civil rights of the citizenship all over the country, and no discrimination has been made between them regarding to which state he or she belongs. So this is also the unique feature. Now the next point is the independent bodies. Our constitution has provided different bodies which are very much independent in their nature, that is in their working. The first is the EC, that is the election commission, and the working of the election commission is to provide free and fair elections. Second is the CAG office, that is the comptroller and the auditor general of India, and the work of that office is to provide the audit of the accounts of the central and the state governments. The next independent body is Union Public Service Commission, that is UPSC, and the aim or the objective of this body is to conduct the examinations for the recruitment to all Indian services and higher central services. The next is the State Public Service Commission, and it is the duty of this particular commission to provide the recruitment of the state services. And the next point is the emergency provisions. See, the emergency provision is also very unique in nature, as our constitution is behaving properly in every circumstance, but during emergency, see, emergency are of three types, that is the national emergency, state emergency, and financial emergency. We will discuss it later, but these are the conditions in which our constitution is changing into a central powered constitution, means the total power of all the states goes into the total control of the center. So this kind of the transformation of the political system from federal to the unitary one is a unique feature of the Indian constitution. The next is the three-tier form of government. Like any other federal constitution, which provided the dual polity and the regarding to the organization, the powers of the center and the states, this feature provided the third tier to the government, that is the local tier, that is in the by the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1992, it has been made the provisions for the rural local governments and also the urban local governments. Now we have the next point regarding this, that is the cooperative societies. By the 97th Constitutional Amendment Act of the 2011 gave the constitutional status and the protection to the cooperative societies. And also it is a fundamental right, and also it has been included in the directive principles of the state policy, and a new part has been added, that is the part 9b in the constitution, that is entitled as cooperative societies, for the cooperative societies. So these are the salient features of the constitution. So now we have discussed all the features brief. Now we will see that besides all the features in our constitution, there are also the criticism regarding our constitution. So let's discuss that. The first is that it is a borrowed constitution. Okay, our many critics describes a constitution as there is nothing new in it, and nothing it is original, it is the bag of borrowings, and it is the hodgepodge work or a patchwork. But beside it has been borrowed, then also the framers of the constitution had made in their mind that we will take or we will borrow that particular feature of the any constitution of the world which is applicable to our needs, or which is applicable to our country needs, or our country's people need, which is very much important. So it is not a blind copy of any constitution, or it is not a bag of borrowings. It is the constitution which is made, or which is adaptative constitution, means it has been made by seeing the condition of our country. It has been made after taking in mind that what are the social and economical conditions which are prevailing in our country, what are the conditions of the poor, what are conditions of the backward classes. After that this constitution has been made. The next criticism is it is a carbon copy of the 1935 Act. The legal part of our constitution has been largely taken from this 1935 Act. So it is said that it is a carbon copy of this act, but it is to be taken in mind that the Britishers have made this act by seeing the condition that how they will rule in the country India. So they have made different circumstances and different provisions in this 1935 Act. So our framers have made the particular point in this 1935 Act that which are applicable to our country need. As when this criticism was made that it is a carbon of the 1935 Act, then Dr. B.R. Ambedkar answered that as to the question that the draft constitution has reproduced a good part of the provisions of the Government of India Act of 1935, I make no apologies. Why? Because there is nothing to be ashamed of in borrowing. It involves no plagiarism. Nobody holds any patent rights in the fundamental ideas of the constitution. So the next point is it is un-Indian or anti-Indian. Many critics says that it is anti-Indian. Why? Because it does not reflect the political traditions and the spirits of the India. They say that it is that the Indian constitution is foreign in nature and it will be unsuitable according to the Indian situation. So we see that it is not anti-Indian. After so many years after its inception, the Constitution of India is still in par and it is going on in a very good manner. So this criticism is also not not good. The second point is the it is un-Gandhian constitution, means it is not according to the philosophy and ideals of the Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation. But as we see in DPSP, there are many provisions. We will see in later lectures that it also contains many provisions and many things which reflects the ideas and philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi. The next point it is elephantine in size. Yes, it is very much detailed in nature. That's why it is elephantine in size. But the critic says that it is very much bulky, too detailed, and also it consists of many unnecessary elements. As it has been borrowed, so they have not selected the region or not selected the part which is necessary for India, and in the general meaning, it was too long and complicated. But though it is bulky, but it has the all the features which our country need. And the next point is the paradise of the lawyers. The critic says the Indian constitution is too legalistic and very complicated, and it is a very much complex document. Why? Because a common person cannot answer or cannot read this particular document because it is very much complex in nature. What we see that though it is written or it is influenced from the lawyers, but it it is not a it is not so difficult or not composed with such a manner that it is a law manual, or it is not a socio-political. It is a very life-giving document. It is a socio-political document and very much vibrating and pulsating. So these are the criticism of our Indian constitution. So I hope you have understood the features of the salient of our constitution. The detailed version of these features we will discuss in the next part. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to get informed and for more exciting lectures. Thank you.